Hi guys, today we are completely skipping Halloween and we're going straight to Christmas because I have a holiday palette that I'm going to test out with you guys. I'm so excited. This is called the Rephr and it's from a brand called DJs Unique Boutique. It's a very new brand to me. I haven't tried anything from them in the past. I did mention them in my top 5 bottom 5 new makeup releases video that I did, I don't know, like a month ago, and I said that I was going to get this palette, and I ended up getting this palette because I said I was going to, and because it's beautiful. So I will show you what the palette looks like. So this is the inside. I think this color story is just so fun. I don't know if I would necessarily call it Christmas, but I think that's why I like it so much, because it's like a different spin on Christmas. It's not like your basic holiday palettes with like the reds and the yellows and the golds and the silvers and stuff like that. It's like, it's pretty unique. I want to say I paid $35 for this, which I'm not sure if I think that's a fair price or not, because there is a sticker on the front of the palette here, which you guys know I absolutely hate stickers. I feel like it really just cheapens the palette. So for that reason alone, I'm not sure if $35 is a fair price. I also don't know if this is a private label palette or if it is like handmade. Can't really speak for that, but what we're going to test out is the quality and see if the shadows themselves are actually worth the money. When I swatched this palette, I felt like it swatched out very, very nicely. The mattes built up just with one swipe, which is really, really nice. The shimmers they're pretty basic. I mean, they're your very basic shimmer formula. You all know what I mean when I say it's a very basic shimmer. It's not a metallic, it's not a satin, it's just a shimmer. So at least I know that going into it, that I don't have like super high expectations for the shimmers, because you all know how picky I am with my shimmers, but I think these are going to be fine. So we're just gonna go straight into it and we're gonna test out this palette. So I'm going to use my Natasha Denona eyeshadow base, and the owner actually has a YouTube channel. I will link her channel down below because I have watched a couple of her videos and she seems really, really sweet. She also did some demos with this palette and she created some really nice looks. So like I said, I will have her channel linked down below if you want to go check it out. So I don't really know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take it one shade at a time here because I do know that I want to use this very dark purple. I love testing out the darkest shades in the palettes, especially if they are purples, because I feel like that says a lot about the quality of a palette, because if they can get a shade like this right, the rest of the palette is going to be awesome. So this is the shade here called Tradition. A little bit of kick up in the pan, but not anything that bothers me at all. So I'm going to start by patting that in the outer corner of my eye here. And this is going to be my deepening shade. I do like to start with my darkest shade first if it is a blue or a purple. Otherwise, I usually tend to go in with my transition shade first, but with a color like this, they do have a tendency to sometimes get a little bit patchy, and this just will kind of prevent that. So I just tend to go in with blues and purples as my first shade, but this is laying down very nicely. It's very pigmented. Looks really good so far. Not taking a lot of effort at all to really build this up to be nice and opaque. Just gonna leave that right in the outer corner here. I'm not going to pull that through my crease at all. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. And I do want to just quickly mention that when this video is going up, this day that this is going up, Rephr is having a huge sale. They actually have a couple of sales going. I'm not going to bore you with like too many details because I know some of you probably don't care. I will have all of the information on the top of my description box if you want to know more, but basically the gist of it is that they are currently having a sale where their core collection of 5 brushes, which is like the most popular brushes, are half off in the concept store, which is absolutely insane. So if you use the code concept store, the code will apply and you will get the discount on that set. And they're also having individual single brushes if you add them to your order for 20% off. So really, really good deal. Like I said, I will have all of the information in my description box if you want to know more, because I don't want to talk about the brushes for this whole video, but I did just want to mention it. So this is looking really nice. I'm going to take a little bit of this same shade as well, just underneath my eye so I can connect my outer corner here, because it's just going to help me blend when I do go in with my next shade. So again, just gonna keep it right in the outer portion of my lid and my lower lash line. And I'm just taking it high enough up here that I can see it when my hooded eye is open. So it's gonna look a little bit like this. I just have like that tiny little amount just around my eye on the outer corner. So next up, I gotta figure out if I want to do blue or if I want to do green. That is the question. Of course, this teal color is just screaming my name, so I might have to use that. I think that's what I'm going to do because it's just so pretty. This one is called Family. I'm gonna tap this off a little bit. I don't want too much of this right away because I don't know how pigmented this is going to be. I'm actually gonna start in the front portion here, and then I'm gonna kind of pull it over that blue after. Is it a blue or is it a purple? Not really sure what that color is. I guess it's like something in between. Is there a name for that? Is there a name for like a dark blue purple? Dark purple? I don't know, but it's a really, really pretty shade. But like I said, I'm gonna put this in the front portion first, and then we're gonna connect it and just kind of blend this out as we go over it. And this shade is also building up very, very nicely. It's nice and opaque and nice and pigmented. So far we're off to a very good start with this palette. I really like the matte so far. Just gonna take this around the edge of that dark blurple, I guess we decided to call it. And maybe I will use a different shade on the inner portion of my lower lash line. I haven't quite decided. Of course, I do want to test out as many of these colors as I can. But I just love these kind of colors on myself. I just think that they look so good with my brown eyes here. This is blending so well into that outer corner shade. Like that almost blended itself. So far, really liking this. I'm grabbing a clean fluffy brush here, and I'm just going to go over the edges all around my eye to make sure that the outer edge is blended. I mean, that blended out quite seamlessly. Before we go in with any kind of shimmer, I'm taking a bit more of that darkest shade that I put in the outer corner, and I'm just going to bring this back a little bit and make sure that this goes as high up as I want it to go. Plus, I also just kind of want to see like how this layers, and it's looking like it's going to layer very nicely here. This blend is looking so good. I love this. So let's see, what are my options for my lid shades? Basically blue or green. That's what we got to work with. So maybe I'll use one of both. So I'm gonna start with the darkest of the shimmers. This looks to be the most satin-like of the shimmers, which I don't mind that as long as it's the darkest shimmer in the palette, because it's nice to kind of blend into a matte. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of this. I'm not gonna use any glitter primer with this, but I am going to spray my brush, mostly just because I want to prevent getting any kind of fallout with this. And I'm gonna start by placing that in the middle of my lid and just blending it out into that outer corner shade. Just gonna create a bit of a diagonal line here. Yeah, this is a really nice shade for doing exactly what it is that I'm doing now. It has a bit of a purple undertone to it. I really like the color of that. Just kind of tapping this into my crease as well as into that outer corner shade, and these are blending very nicely in together. For the front portion of my lid, I think I'm gonna use the shade here called Gifts. This is a beautiful green. I am gonna first put down some of my NYX glitter primer though. Just wanna see like how intense I'm really able to get this shade. Just gonna put that right in the front portion of my lid, and also a little bit over that other shade that I just put down so we can blend these colors in together. And then I'm going into the green shade, and I'm just gonna put that on top of my glitter primer. So this seems like it's the same formula as the one that I just put on my eye. I gotta say, the shimmer formula in this palette, definitely not my favorite. I do prefer something that's a little bit more intense and shiny. It probably looks a little bit better on camera because it tends to do that, but I do think that a lot of people would probably really like this formula still. It's just that I'm very, very particular and very picky when it comes to my shimmers, because I have so many amazing, super shiny and reflective shimmers that's kind of like where my baseline is right now and what I'm comparing everything to. But if you like shimmers that are a little bit more subtle and maybe not like something that's going to enhance the texture of your lid and stuff, these are definitely really, really nice for that. I'm just gonna take a little bit more of that blue and go back over it so we get a good blend between the two colors. And then I think for underneath my eye, I want to use one of the blue shimmers as well. So I'm going to take this shimmer here called Holiday. Just going to put that right in the front portion of my lower lash line. And then for the very inner corner, I'm going to use the kind of highlighting shade, which is more of a champagne. Going in with that other shade now called Frosty, just right in my inner corner. And I'm going to blend it into both my lid shade as well as the one that I have under my eye. I love the name Frosty for this shade. I feel like that is very, very fitting. It's definitely a frosty type of shade. So I think the eyes are actually all done. So I'm going to finish off. I'm gonna, you know, finish off with my eyes. And I'll come back and I will show you the look and we can do the rest of the face together. So this is the eyes all done. I didn't do anything fancy. I just did a little bit of black liner and mascara, and in my waterline I used Deep End from Urban Decay. I feel like it would just kind of match what was going on here. I didn't want to do anything that would kind of contrast with that. So let's go ahead and do some blush. I want to use one of my Woodside blushes. This is the one in Little Jasmine. And for my lips, I'm also going to use the cream lip stain, also in the shade Little Jasmine, because I like to kind of match them because they sort of go together, you know? So I'm going to take my blush on my Rephr number 5 brush. This is one of the brushes that come in the core set. Just thought I would show you, but I like using this for when I want to have a pigmented blush. I find that these brushes pick up a lot of product, so I got to make sure that I know what I'm in for, you know what I mean? And it also works really well if you have a blush that's not super pigmented and you want a little bit of a heavier look. Of course, you can go in a lot lighter than I do, but I like to go ham with my blush anyway, so this is great for me. I know a lot of people use this for bronzer as well. I don't know, for me, this is definitely more of a blush brush, but that is the cool thing about brushes, is that you can use them for whatever you want. Like, there's no such thing as a blush brush, you know, because you can use it for highlighter, you can use it for contour, whatever floats your boat, and whatever your size preferences for like the brushes that you're using are, you can just use whatever you want, which is really, really nice. For my highlighter, I'm going to use one from Kaleidos. This is in the shade Diamond Dasher. It's just a kind of neutrally-ish highlighter, I guess you could call it, while still being kind of sparkly and out there. And I'm just using a very, very large eyeshadow brush for this. That's what I usually use for my highlighters. So this is definitely more of a pink highlighter, but it also gets a little bit pinker when I kind of layer it over my blush like I usually do. But I really, really, really like this highlighter. I can't really think of a look that this wouldn't go with. Like, I just feel like it goes with everything. It's just so nice and wet looking. I really like that. I'm going to blush my nose a little bit as well before I go in with my highlighter on my nose, because I just like having a little bit of blush to highlight. Just think it looks really cute. Oh, I just love this highlighter so much. So I'm going to finish off with my lips. And this is going to be it. So let's talk a little bit more about this palette. Again, I feel like I was pretty clear in my first impression when I was using it, but I think that the mattes are really, really nice. To be fair though, I only used 2, so I can't really speak for all of the other ones, but the 2 that I did use were the kind of colors that tend to be a little bit tricky to work with, so I have very high expectations for the other ones, especially that green up here. It looks so beautiful. Let me know if you guys want me to do more looks with this. I can't promise anything. Like I said before, I can't promise to do multiple looks with every single palette that I get, because I just simply don't have time, because I get a lot of palettes into my collection. As much as I would love to do, like, you know, all the looks with all the palettes, I can't do that. But if you guys really want to see it, do let me know. Maybe I can do like another 2 looks or something. But so far, I really like this palette. I do wish the shimmers were a little bit more intense, but I also just have so many beautiful shimmers that I can like top these with if I feel like something is missing. So it's not really that big of a deal, but I did, you know, want to mention it still, if you have the same preferences that I do, that I don't think that the shimmers are like out of this world, but they're totally fine. Like, I mean, they look fine. So that's going to be my, I guess, review on this palette. I really like it so far, and I can't wait to see what this brand does in the future. I also, like I said, link the creator of the brand's channel down below if you want to go check her out. She is awesome. So that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching as always. So if you want to see some other first impression videos that I have on my channel, here's my playlist. And if you're new, I would love it if you would consider subscribing, and I will see you in my next one.